I can hear Jeff. Josh is asking, why is the counter counting up or down? Thomas says he's not lying. He can hear me. Oh, dear. Sure, sir.
All right, hello and welcome. How's everyone doing on what I hope is a fantastic Tuesday, July the 1st? And I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear Jeff.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you hear him now? Because I think I messed
Matthew
things up.
can, so that's good.
Yeah,
At
that's
least
true.
Matthew can hear me. And I can hear Matthew.
Okay. Yeah, Shy is claiming no audio. I have doubts.
No audio at all?
I have doubts.
Can't hear me? Can't hear Matthew?
They're saying that we've heard you the whole time. You can hear us both. I'm pretty sure everyone can hear us.
Anna says that she can hear us both. Anna says that
okay,
I am inclined to believe her.
See, I am inclined to believe Anna and Texas. Or Texas Ranger. I think he'd be honest with us.
Well,
I'd like to think
he's
he'd be honest
endless
with us.
shock, so he should be honorable.
Indeed. So yeah, and you know, I unmuted it for a second in the studio, and I did hear us, and I even heard us kind of balanced.
Wow.
Yeah.
Way to go, Matthew.
Basic streaming. I mean, yeah, are the rest of us lying? You know, the very fact that you asked us that does imply that you've been hearing this conversation, which does kind of answer your own question, doesn't it? I'm just saying.
It's a distinct possibility. Thomas so you didn't believe me when I said I heard Jeff in the countdown. Well, apparently you did.
Well, so I didn't initially. Like, fair is fair. I initially thought Thomas was just messing. And then I looked over and I saw the little audio bar for Jeff dancing along there. I said, you know what? I bet they can actually hear Jeff. But I muted it. So you should have stopped hearing him at some point, I think.
Well, I think you're getting closer anyway, Matthew.
Yeah, and so if there are, I'll do some minor audio tweaks. Jeff, you leave your stuff alone. I'll do just tiny little stuff.
No, don't touch it.
Yeah.
It's working. You don't want to mess with it.
It's true. Who was it? So, someone was just saying that you sounded just a teensy bit low.
I can boost my audio.
So, no, you leave yours alone. You leave yours alone.
Oh, no,
you sound great.
Okay.
You're great.
Okay.
You're great.
Okay.
So, anyway, Jeff, how has your week been?
I'm not sure. It's been kind of odd. I didn't do a whole lot yesterday, so I have Mondays off, so I kind of was trying to relax, but it was still kind of an odd day. And today I worked, and I didn't want to go to work, but I went to work. I'm glad I did go to work because I had a lot to do today and got a lot of it done. So
Yeah.
overall, I guess it's pretty good. Still waiting on the insurance company to get me my reimbursement check, but you know that's
Yeah.
progressing. That's progressing. I should have it this week. So
Yeah, and well, I'm glad that is progressing. I had a he used to be a kid in the youth group. He went on to the college group. He got into a car wreck a while back ago. Um and it was one of those things where it definitely wasn't his fault. But he came from, I forget where he came from, but it was a state where they had at fault insurance. So whoever had caused the wreck was responsible for paying the damage to the other person's vehicle.
okay.
And he was really thrown off by in Texas, we're a no fault state, where each person's insurance independently covers the damage to that person's vehicle. It was a really weird thing for him. And I agree, it's kind of a weird thing to me as well. Like, I would think that if someone 100% was in the wrong for causing a car crash, like, they should be responsible for my repair costs, I would think.
Well, that it's interesting you say that because the other insurance company is paying for it all.
Are they now?
My insurance company isn't. Yeah, it's not involved. So I don't know.
Well, I could be very wrong. I
don't know. It's just the way it's working. The other driver, she had USAA, and they're paying for it all. My insurance company is not USAA, and they're not doing anything. So,
And
Omni says, "Good man, Professor. That's the way."
Well, thankfully, I guess I haven't had to really deal with an Omni saying that certain accidents are deemed no fault. So it's not a blanket one. It says certain accidents. Okay. Thankfully, I haven't had to deal with it myself. The last time I was in any sort of fender bender was when I was 19. So it's been a minute. No, okay. So story time with Matt. This week.
Here we go.
This week, I had to be in a different office today. So it's the same building. I was just on the other side of a common room because some people were working on a project together, and so they had taken my office space over, my desk and another guy's desk who was out of town. And so I was with some younger guys, and they were trying to figure out, like, oh, hey, what college did you go to? I'm like, well, that's interesting. I've gone to so many colleges. What college have I graduated from? The answer is none of them. I was a horribly bad student. And so they're like, well, when was the first college you went to? When was that? And I said, well, it's 2003. And one of the guys, before he could stop himself, his intrusive thought just sprang out and goes, dang, except it wasn't dang. He said a much stronger, much more emphatical word of surprise. Oh yeah, so he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, hey, it's okay. I understand. This white isn't for show. It has been a hot minute since I was in college, and they were just all surprised. He's born in '98. Another one of the kids was born the year I graduated high school. And we were going around. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm the oldest guy in this office building. This is a new experience for me. I've always been, not necessarily the youngest guy, but more toward the younger side. So that was an interesting thing. And it was interesting, especially because I have reached the age where people will audibly express their shock and dismay at my age by swearing. I was not prepared for this.
Okay. Well, truth be told, I don't swear very much myself. So.
I also was not prepared for the crowns in the chat. I'm
Oh
not sure
yeah,
when.
that threw me off too.
Yeah, apparently YouTube has rolled out. They've rolled out a thing called Top Fans. Yeah, yeah, Thomas. Gosh, diddly darn it. That's I am the Ned Flanders of YouTube. Um,
We love you
but
for it too.
well, thank you. I I definitely.
Although you used the word last week, I was surprised by.
Oh, I do have some words where I just culturally didn't know they were. We grew up okay with them.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I'm not sure when YouTube rolled this out. I have a button called Top Fans. If I click it, what happens? It actually shows who the top fans are. I'm not comfortable with this name, but uh, so it shows me like y'all have XP now. Apparently, I guess
Yes, I have 75 XP at the moment. It almost looks like what is that other streaming platform?
The Twitch, yeah.
Twitch. Almost looks like Twitch. Thomas is rigged.
Yeah. Yeah, what was the protest they had like 2 weeks ago? No Kings, the No Kings movement or something.
Right.
And here YouTube is like, it's no, we got kings. We are going to proudly display our kings. Interesting choice there, YouTube.
Now, we did not see this Sunday on a stream. We had Who Wants to Be a Trek Millionaire Sunday afternoon, and we did not see the crowns then.
Ooh.
So it must have come maybe yesterday or today.
Now, who is doing Who Wants to Be Trek Millionaire? I've forgotten.
That's Mike. That's doing
Mike's. Okay. Wait,
Mike is doing it.
Mike as in Vile Mike?
No, not Vile Mike. This is a different Mike.
Okay. I was gonna be surprised. So, for those who don't know, way back in the day, back during lockdown times, we'd do these shows like this, and we'd have big group panels come on. We'd do the virtual pub, and lots of fun stuff. Really enjoyed that time. And then, lockdowns ended, and it was time to get back to work and be responsible adults and all that boring stuff. But one of the people in the community was a guy named Vile Mike, and he was an interesting guy. He did some reviews with his daughter, looking over the old TOS episodes, and it was interesting because he was in the group who was more one of the left leaning people, and so it was interesting to see his take on how well TOS didn't age from the 60s, and it was just interesting to have such a different point of view. So I think he still does them, him and his daughter.
He just put one out yesterday or today.
Oh, neat.
And he has a regular Sunday stream.
Huh. I have to admit, a long time ago, I pared down just a ton of, like, it was back in October. Y'all guys remember, I kind of realized, hey, I need to cut down a lot on the stuff I do on YouTube, and I unsubscribe from a lot of people that I find way too interesting, because I can't get sucked back into that rabbit hole. So unfortunately, he was one of the people I had to cut, because when he puts out stuff, I stop and I watch it. I'm sorry, Vile.
Well, I'm sure he would forgive you.
And Thomas is claiming I gave $100 per minute to Omni? What? Oh no, he's claiming Omni gave me.
Yeah, Omni asked how to raise his XP.
Oh.
And Thomas is saying to give you $100 per minute.
Yeah,
no less.
I have no control over it. I assume it's just like based on chat interaction.
That would be my guess.
I'll be honest.
Thomas says that Salty's had these for a few weeks.
I guess they rolled it out in batches, maybe.
I guess so.
That makes sense.
Kind of like the 2024H2 slow rollout for
Yeah.
Windows 11.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with the YouTube stuff. Around the time I realized, hey, this is not a valid like career path for me, I really had to stop paying attention to all the YouTube drama and update stuff that happen all the time.
Yeah.
Not that I ever really gave YouTube a serious thought, but it was one of those things where in the back of your head you're like, wow, this is a lot more fun than what I actually do. And so there's always that little hope there, but I kind of woke up, smelled the Roctigino, and stopped paying attention to every single update YouTube put out. So I'm kind of like, ooh, well, this is fun. This is neat. Yeah, it was decided by the Grey Council.
Yeah, I probably watch about 10% of the channels that I subscribe to. I just don't have the time for one.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much.
See, I was really good about only subscribing to a channel that consistently put out content I like. And so everything that showed up in my subscription feed, I was actively interested in watching it. And so that's why I had to cut way back. So things like Cinema Sins, I had to get rid of them because they're funny. I enjoy their stuff, but I don't have time to be watching a Cinema Sin video a couple times a week. There are some longer format critique video sites that I had to drop out of, like The Critical Drinker. Really enjoy The Critical Drinker, but I don't got time for that sort of stuff, you know?
Yeah, I know. I don't know how I have the time to watch what I do watch.
Right? Like, honestly,
just so much.
Tuesday nights is kind of like the time I've carved out for YouTube. And beyond that, I don't get to do too much. I say that, but YouTube shorts, they are the bane of my existence at nighttime. Because you sit down and like, oh, well, here's an interesting short. I'll watch one short before bed. And then it's like 2 hours later. And what happened? I just watched one or two shorts.
I don't care for shorts that much. Occasionally I'll watch one, but most of the time it's the longer stuff that I like to watch. A little more substance there.
I greatly enjoy the more almost podcast type videos where I can put it on while I'm working. I can listen to it and I'm not distracted, and they're not doing a bunch of visual stuff that I need to be looking at to have context for what's going on. And I really enjoy that sort of stuff now.
Well, I watch or listen to 2 podcasts for our show, reviews of the episode we're doing. And that's what I do. It's not nothing I have to really watch. I just listen to it and do other stuff. I enjoy that sort of stuff. And Shai's saying it's called doom scrolling. Yes, doom scrolling is the worst. Because Amy's here.
When he gets, hey, hun, yeah, when you get sucked into the doom scrolling, wow, the doom scrolling, there's just everything else in life more productive. I could be spending time with Amy. I could be doing a Bible study. I could be working on any number of projects that I really need to be paying attention to around the house. And instead you're just doom scrolling. And it's always at nighttime. And it's the worst. Because it's like, hey, I could have going to bed would have been more productive than watching the trite that is rolled out on the doom scrolls. Because then I could have woken up earlier and been productive with my day.
Right.
And yeah, sometimes it's nice to relax, but that's the thing about doom scrolling. You always go beyond the relaxing. It's like, hey, 10 minutes. And now Amy's smart. The other day, I came downstairs. The kids were at my mom's house. I was working on a lesson, and I come downstairs and the alarm goes off. Amy had set a literal 5-minute alarm so that she could sit down, relax, and not get sucked into the trap of doom scrolling. She's a smart gal.
Very smart. She is smart.
Another fun.
I wish I was that smart.
Yeah, me too. Amy says one time. Well, one time is still more than I've done, so let's count it. Also, smart things. This wasn't Amy. She told me about this today. So her stepdad, they had to put his dog down a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was 14 years old. It was at the point where something about his breed, when they try to squat to pee, a nerve gets pinched and their legs fold out under them. And so he ends up sitting in his own pee and poop. And so, they went to the vet and he's like, hey, I'm sorry, guys. It's time to let your dog go. And so they go ahead, they schedule it, they go into the vet, they put him down, extremely upset. They get home.
Of course.
They had just received a delivery for 6 months of dog food from a company called Chewy. And I have no affiliation with them. I am not a dog owner. I'm not a cat owner. I own fish. That's the extent of my pet stuff. Because we have allergies and people coming to our house have allergies, and I want people to feel like they can come here and not have to worry about that stuff. So we don't have pets beyond fish. And so he calls them up and he explains what happened. They say, give the food away. They gave him a full refund and they said, just give it away. Don't even worry about sending it back.
Wow. 6
That
months.
That alone is a classy move. But then they sent him flowers to express their sympathy for the death of his pet.
Wow.
Right?
That's one class company, I'll tell you. Omni asks, what if he has a seafood allergy?
Don't eat the fish. Don't eat the fish. But I have to admit,
Anna does get an allergic reaction to seafood. So
don't eat my fish. Please. I think that's fair. And yeah, Trevor, it is such a nice gesture. And it's such a smart gesture because here I am on my stream. I'm like, you know what? I got to tell people about this. A company called Chewy. I will gladly tell people that if you got to get dog food, go talk to them. Because they are a class act.
Do they sell cat food?
I don't know. I literally know nothing about them beyond the fact that they did this nice thing for Amy's stepdad. And so I don't know if they're expensive. I don't know if they serve superior grade dog food or if this is, chopped up horse meat. I got no idea. But what they did is so smart because when you think about the millions of dollars companies spend on advertising, giving someone a couple $100 and some flowers is such a genius marketing strategy.
Oh yeah, that's great advertising.
Oh yeah,
and
word of mouth.
People spread that story. Anna says she promises she will not eat the fish.
And Tom is saying alleged fish. He only saw the rainbow on my wall. So it was so cool. I came home and the sun was hitting the fish tank just right to make the most perfect rainbow on my wall. And I showed that in the group chat because Thomas had just had a much superior photo that he dropped of a real rainbow. I mean, I guess they're both real rainbows, but his was more naturally occurring. I think you guys know what I'm going for here. It was a beautiful photo he took. And then I'm like, here's a picture of a rainbow on my wall. But hey, I'll take a picture and put it of the fish tank and put it in the chat.
Anna says Chewy accidentally sent 2 boxes of food to her door in the last owner's name, and she was able to give it to the local shelter.
Oh.
That's classy too.
It is. And Kay Roberts is saying that Chewy just advertised on The Fat Electrician last week. It's a new product. So they are, at least from an advertising standpoint, they got someone who understands how this game is played.
Indeed. And I'm sorry you're missing Normal, Mercer. I'm sure you'll see her soon. Mercer is in the hospital. He's recovering from his procedure today.
Oh no!
And
I'll keep you in my prayers.
With us. He's here.
Hey,
with
thank
us.
you.
So, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm assuming it went well.
I think he did say that earlier.
Yeah. So, massive respect to them. I'm not familiar with the Fat
yeah.
Electrician. I'm gonna have to look.
Mercer said it went perfectly.
Oh, good.
Or is that perfectly? Got to get a little normal inflection there, Mercer.
So I was actually, we're going to get to Babylon 5 soon. I promise. I promise. I was actually thinking today about how weird movie critic scores are now. And I was thinking about this because all the critic reviews are coming out for the new Jurassic Park movie. And they're just really kind of bombing this thing. I think it's a 57, 58% critic review score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not great.
Well, it's better than that movie event thing that Omni keeps going on about.
Oh, which movie event is this? Oh, the Section 31. Yeah, okay. Sometimes they're right. But here's my thought here. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways, Matthew. So here's my thought here. I don't really trust aggregate movie critic websites anymore. There was a time when you could have someone like Siskel and Ebert, and they were really good about being fair to a movie. Like if they didn't like a slasher film, they wouldn't be like, "Oh, this movie gets, half a thumbs up." They would be honest about.
Did they slash the thumb?
Because it was a slasher, they had to. But like they'd be like, "Hey, you know what? This isn't us." But they would say, "If you enjoy slasher films, here's all the great stuff about it." And they would give they were so good about giving a truly level
objective
review, objective, yeah. And now everything is like, well, because of my whatever set of adjectives you want to throw in here, I personally can't like this movie, therefore I don't like this movie at all. And that's kind of like what almost every one of these professional movie critics do. And it's gotten to the point where I watch a couple people online for a specific show, like, hey, I know that this person in the past is someone I line up with on movies. And so if that person watches it and they enjoy it, I trust that specific person over like just the broad meta review sites.
That, usually works, but not always.
Yeah. And like Texas is saying, I do look at the audience reviews first. I do tend to trust those more. There are certainly times where I'm shocked that it gets as good as a review as it does. Take Strange New Worlds. I'm shocked that gets a good review the way it does. But I also recognize really the reason it does get a good review is because Strange New Worlds very much doesn't care about the past audiences too much. Like it gives, a little token appreciation to them. Certainly more than Disco ever did.
True.
But it's very much marketed at, the Gen Z, Gen Alpha people. And it goes in for all the checkbox. Hey, you care about this social agenda thing. Boom, you got it. You care about this environmental thing. Boom, you got it. Hey, you like K-pop? We got you. Boom. Here's it's not just Korean pop, it's Klingon pop. We got you. And so from that perspective, they've done really good at tapping into an audience that doesn't know better. And they like it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just find it sad because I've also found that when I take those exact same people and I show them classic Trek, real Trek, if I'm going to be a boomer, real Trek.
Well, no, you're exactly right. It is.
They like that too. And they're like, oh, wow, this is really great stuff. And so it's lamentable to me because we could have had both. They could have had the new audience and they could have retained their core audience. And it's sad to me that they cut off the core people. Who's being a Paramount shill? Am I being a Paramount?
No. Omni is.
Oh.
Omni a Paramount shill. Thomas says send hashtag send Omni to Nut House.
One Star Trek universe hashtag. And Kay Roberts saying the hunger for storytelling is apparent. Yeah, so this is something I don't know if I mentioned here, but this is something I was noticing as I was watching the Minecraft movie with my kids. The art of storytelling, I hate to be so dramatic, is dead.
Pretty much.
While I enjoyed the Minecraft movie, from a narrative perspective, a storytelling perspective, I'm like, this is kind of garbage.
Take care, Mercer.
See ya. Yeah, watch some TNG. Have fun.
Be praying for you, Mercer.
Yeah. Hope you get to go home soon. I disagree, Omni. I'm glad you like it, but I disagree. So what I mean, so storytelling is dead. They have vignettes in which things happen, and then they have a loose connection between these two little vignettes. And so you are tricked into thinking there's an overarching progression of action that leads to a conclusion. But when you look at the way they set up the movie, they introduce Steve, and then that's the opening to the movie. And they stop the movie, and then they have the opening to the movie again, at which point you're introduced to your new set of characters. And so if instead they'd focused on the new set of characters from the get-go, and then at the moment when they're all up on top of the tower being attacked by skeletons, that's the moment Steve's introduced, you suddenly have a much more flowing story. And that's like a super easy basic tweak to only have your story open once. Like, why waste screen time on what's not important? And when you look at each character's motivation, there is no beginning to end motivation for any of the characters. Like the garbage man guy, he gets pretty close, but beyond him, like no one really has a satisfying, I want this thing, I'm being denied this thing, I grow, at the end of the movie I got the thing. Like they're all absent of that. It's so weird.
Thomas says Steve is Rogan. As a child he wanted to work in the mines. First thing Thomas thought of.
Yeah, you know, rest our Emperor's soul. He would have let Steve serve in the mines, but we miss you, yes, Bird.
I'm sure Bird would have done that.
Yeah, when did we get back to story time with Matthew? It's so true. I don't know what's going on. What do you say we get into Babylon 5 time with Matthew?
Now that's storytelling there.
So it really is. One sense, I am so easily distractible. They were talking about, what was it? Some TV show. It had a lot of good success. It took 3 years for them to release the second season of it. 8 episodes long. I'm like, I'm sorry. JMS, he, from this point, like 3 seasons almost, just him doing the story writing, 25 episodes a season at least. Like, these guys are weak.
Tell me about it.
I wish I could remember. It was the Addams girl. Friday? Wednesday.
Wednesday? Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now be careful. Anna likes Wednesday.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, it took them 3 years to write 8 more episodes. Like, come on, guys. You could... Yeah, Josh, I can't get names right. We all know this.
You figured it out.
I got there in the end, yeah. Yeah, and Shai's saying that movies don't have story progression. They're just lying and saying they do. Yeah. It's so weird. Maybe I should do a video on this at some point using the Minecraft movie or the Mario movie. Love the Mario movie. It was made for me. It's not a story, though. It's just a collection of scenes. I don't want to get in. Let's talk Babylon 5. Okay. Focus, Matthew. Babylon 5. We are watching season 3, episode 8 today. This is Messages from Earth. Jeff, do you remember what I predicted last week.
You said episode where we look at things from the viewpoint of things that have already happened and how those on the station have reacted to them. This will be revealed to us by crew receiving messages from those on Earth, their friends, loved ones, and relatives. It won't be an ISN news special like we had last season, just something in the same vein. Something has occurred, and we are catching up and seeing how the crew is reacting as they're getting these messages from those on Earth. It could be something about Mars, martial law, something like that. Oh, and your future guest, the White Star, gets severely damaged by being outclassed, and they reach out to the techno mages to upgrade the White Star.
Absolutely. You got to keep bringing it up because I think that's going to be a very long thing, like maybe
we
season 5.
See.
Yep,
possibly.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes narrative sense. But
he predicted that 2 episodes ago, Omni.
Yeah. And Shai, you would be amazed at things I find difficult in life. It doesn't matter the names of day of a week. I had a 1 in 7 chance of getting it right, and a 6 in 7 chance of getting it wrong. So I mean, just by the odds, I'm amazed I got it on the second try.
Okay, Robert says Kefir still flies by in the cutscenes.
Hashtag influential character. Am I right?
That's debatable. Hashtag debatable.
Okay, so let me go and pull up the clips here. The way this works, just in case you're new here for the first time, welcome. Glad to have you. If you're hoping that I am going to show the entirety of today's episode, I'm sorry to disappoint you. That's not how this works. If you're here right now in this stream, you can click on the link that I hope I have pinned in the chat by now, and that will let you go to our screening room. That syncs up all of our watch time so that we're watching this within a couple seconds of each other, unless things are going crazy with SciTube, which they do. Sorry about that. But in theory, we're all within a couple seconds of each other. If you can't watch that right now, or you're here in the future, sorry, you won't be able to watch it there. You're going to have some other way of doing it. You can do it, obviously, by watching this on Amazon. If you have Amazon Prime, you can watch it for free. The remastered version, no commercials as I understand it. If you don't have Amazon Prime and you don't mind watching some commercials, like, we're back in the 90s, hey, you can watch it on Roku and on Tubi.
Yes.
And my absolute favoriteest choice, you can buy the physical media, which Jeff has. This is the Blu-rays. You get them on Amazon, get them wherever you like. I know on Amazon they usually run them for around $79. It's the 4th of July. I wouldn't be surprised if they had maybe a deal coming up. I don't know.
Prime Day is coming up.
It is.
Yeah. Next week, I think.
And that's right. I mean, my favoriteest choice. I definitely used that improper grammar. I don't talk good English. Sorry.
Oh, well. We'll forgive you. It's currently $73.51 on Amazon. And they only have 20 left. So buy it now.
I think that's actually the lowest. No, I think maybe we saw it 68 at one point.
I 69. Think so. Yeah.
That may have been Black Friday. So this is pretty low. If you're looking for a good time to buy it, $73 for all 5 seasons. I mean, I think it's a good deal. Just cancel one of your streaming services you don't use anyway, and spend that money on buying physical media. You're going to be better off in the long run. Just my personal opinion.
I could watch this series over and over.
The box sucks though. That's true, Thomas.
Yeah, I agree.
In which case, when you buy the series, also buy buy some replacement DVD cases and store it in that.
Now, we were talking about this on Discord, and Mercer, he bought not cases, Blu-ray cases, but he bought like this, I don't know what you would call it, but it's like a slip thing where you just slip the discs in.
Yeah.
and they don't go on the plastic piece. The center hub doesn't go on the plastic piece, so
Hmm.
it's not putting pressure on that center piece. Where Omni is finding his Voyager DVDs are starting to crack in the center from being
Oh.
on the spindle.
Now,
So if you just put them in a slip case, maybe that'll protect it better. I don't know.
I use slip cases myself actually,
And
and
Anna says the DVD version of the Blu-ray is 47.56.
ooh, I'll be honest. 480p on. I mean, this has become my primary viewing device. A phone. 480p is just fine on this guy. Like,
Yep.
if you're not watching this on some 72-inch television screen, maybe you're okay with the DVD version. And Josh is saying it's
Josh,
the 89 is the better version. Oh, the remastered, I
it's
think.
no, it's actually the older version that had the widescreen, but it also has all the movies. It has Crusade, and it has all the documentary and commentary stuff that this version
Oh,
doesn't have.
okay. I'll be honest. I switched over to sleeves a long time ago. I did this crazy project. Like, I had too many DVDs. Just my entire closet was filling up with them. And so I took out each DVD, put it in a sleeve, and then I cut out the relevant portion of the box art, and I slipped it
There you
in
go.
to the sleeve. Now, obviously, that kills resell, but I don't care about resell. I just want my media long term.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then I ended up ripping everything onto my computer. But I have it all in
Yeah,
like this
I want to do
double
that.
wide shoebox thing now, and it has inserts for each, like A through Z and some numbers. And so all my DVDs are in a double wide shoebox sort of thing. It has buttons that snap together to build it up, and it's so much better. If I ever need to watch a physical media, or if one of my files got corrupted, I can go get my DVD, re-rip it, and be good to go.
So just very quickly about this older version of Babylon 5 on DVD, it is widescreen, where the Blu-ray and the newer DVD version is not widescreen. It's how it was originally transmitted back in the day in the 90s. They did film the live action scenes in widescreen originally, but the CGI shots were all 4:3. And for the
Oh.
DVDs to match the widescreen shots, the live action stuff, they zoomed in and on the CGI, and it just looks really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So you get all the commentary and documentaries and stuff on the DVD version that you don't on the newer version, which is good, but then you get a poorer picture. So it's up
Yeah.
to you. Maybe have both. If you're a real fan, maybe you want to get both.
I guess I kind of would have preferred they just like put some black letterbox on the side for any of the CG shots. I would have been okay with that,
Yeah. Joel says the CGI live action composites look the worst, and he's right. Because again, they filmed it all in widescreen, but those CGI shots, even the ones that were composited, they only could do in 4:3 back then. They just didn't have the computing power.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm amazed with what they pulled off, honestly.
And you're going to be amazed in this episode, I think. So,
Well, hey, let's go ahead and start this episode. Me and my rabbits running after them.
well,
One last thing.
I did it too.
If you don't want to sign up for another account, you don't want to get Tubi, you don't want to get Roku, you don't have Amazon Prime, you don't want to be spending the money to go get the DVDs. Hey, don't worry. We got you covered. Once every 7 to 9 seconds, there's going to be right there. There we go. There's going to be just a screenshot. It's a still, took a picture, put it on the screen. there's no audio. If there is audio, please let me know, because as you have seen, I am not the best when it comes to audio. I got Jeff talking when he shouldn't be talking. Or you can hear Jeff when you shouldn't be able to hear Jeff. Jeff should always be talking. You can hear Jeff when you shouldn't be able to hear Jeff. And a couple weeks ago, you couldn't hear Jeff when you should have. So that's the thing.
Yeah, you don't need to hear.
So let's go ahead and kick off this episode. I'll give a quick 3 countdown if you're watching this in future with your own media and you want to be synced up around the same time we are. So 3, 2, 1, hit that play button, everyone. I'm sorry, I think that the CG holds up still.
It does, to a large extent.
I mean, not everything has to be super ray traced where you can see the rivets on it, you know. So Garibaldi is saying that he's been on the station for 3 years and he hasn't played. But he says, where in my contract does it say that I have to eat the same food for breakfast every day for 3 years? And then Sheridan gives like the exact regulation paragraph.
Paragraph 47, no less.
47. That sounds like a familiar number. But it comes down to he and Ivanova quote the standard together, and it says, "Shut up and eat it."
Ooh, got a little glitch there.
Yeah. And so somehow Ivanova, instead of having the blue paste everyone else is eating, she has bacon and eggs. And so apparently it came from Marcos. You may remember last week that there was a hilarious misunderstanding where she thought some roses came from him. And so she, in a huff, walks over to him, slams it on the counter next to him, says, "You keep them." And he goes, "Well, thanks, I will." And
well, she
so
did him a favor, got him an identicard and a few other things, and he's repaying her.
And I think the clips got stuck there for a minute. Sorry about that.
Well,
but she says she's going to kill Marcos, and it looks like someone else is trying to beat her to the punch.
Omni says we're fine.
And let's see, around 2:30. I'll try and catch this up to the best of my abilities here. Too far.
Omni says it's fine.
Is it?
That's what he said. I don't know.
It's the wrong clips.
Uh-oh. I'm not watching the stream, so...
Oh, no. Yeah, the clips are wrong. Sorry about that. Huh. Well, someone messed up. I'm going to have to fire my editor.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Poor
I'm
guy.
going to be real sad about that. Well, I will try to fix this. Everyone just give me a bit of a minute here.
Now, I teased the other day that we have a big Star Trek actor in this episode, and we do, but Thomas took it to the extreme and said it was William Shatner.
Is it William Shatner?
Well, I guess we'll find out.
I mean, I presume it's not William Shatner. Yeah, I'm fired. It's time for Amy to take over.
Right?
I mean, you're not wrong, clearly. This sort of mistake never would have happened with Amy in charge. Okay, so I got it. I got my Python script processing the video to create the images. So, in about like 7-8 minutes, you'll have clips. Sorry about that. The only thing you've missed so far is that Marcus was getting beat up. And we are getting an ISN News Network update. And so they're talking about there's a new alien race that's only been recently detected that may be representing a new serious threat. And apparently there was a ship that exploded leaving Mars.
And the Senate is investigating the president.
And then the people Marcus was fighting were going after this woman that Marcus has brought to Dr. Franklin.
Yes.
And so apparently these assassin people that were after her, they're hired by people who, they're assassins, but we don't really know why she specifically was targeted because she hasn't done anything yet. Hey, time to check in with Jakar. He's in prison as of 2 weeks ago.
Gorilla's in the chat, and he would like a shout out.
Hey, Gorilla, how you doing? Hey, I'm not in control of the crowns. This is 100% a YouTube thing. This isn't like MySpace where you get to rank your top 5 best friends. It's all YouTube. And yeah, sorry, K. Roberts. I'm working on getting the stuff fixed. Unfortunately, most of my computer power is going toward the stream, so it may take a little bit longer than I was thinking. And so Jakar is writing a new book of Jaquan, the Book of Jakar.
Yes, he's writing his own book.
But Garibaldi,
he's singing in jail.
And so he's quoting what the vision of Jaquan, who I'm pretty sure is just Kosh, said to him when he was trying to kill, or he was trying to rip all the memories out of Londo's memory, out of Londo's mind. But he made the point that the other races have distracted the Narn from who they truly are. And so Jakar is focusing on no longer being distracted, on focusing on the things that are really important.
Omni is right. Jaquan was a real person, real Narn, but Kosh appeared as Jaquan in Jakar's mind.
Okay. Okay, so I hadn't thought about that. So it kind of raises an interesting thing. I basically assumed that the Vorlons had appeared as these significant religious figures throughout different races' histories and inserted themselves into that race's mythos. But if Jaquan was a real individual, then it's more like the Vorlons are usurping that legitimate religious figure in the moment now. or at least he did in that instance. Like when everyone saw that religious individual when Kosh revealed himself. Texas saying, make no assumptions where the Vorlons are concerned. Very, very appropriate advice.
Indeed. Great music right here. So get your attention.
I like how everyone was sitting there with like a lot of reverence on their face. And you look at Garibaldi and he seems somewhat unimpressed.
Garibaldi.
And this looks kind of like Amanda Tapping.
It does. She does have a passing resemblance. Definitely not Amanda Tapping.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah. One of the interesting things Garibaldi was talking about in the cell is that he wishes that the Book of Jaquan had a translation and an explanation that made it accessible for him. And Jakar is adamant, no, it has to be in the original, that it loses meaning out once you translate it. Which is interesting because that is also a fundamental belief of many Islamic individuals, that once the Quran is translated, it loses its meaning. It can only be understood in the original Arabic. I had a long conversation about this once with a young gentleman when I worked at Baskin Robbins.
I think you should pay attention to this, Matthew.
Yeah, she is talking about being an archaeologist and coming across a very interesting. I wish there was a screenshot y'all could see at this moment. But they came across a ship, and it's the same ship that we're seeing on the news right now. And Sheridan's saying, well, but back home they're saying that they've never seen ships like this before. And she says, well, they're lying. And so maybe they're using this threat as an excuse to tighten security, restrict information. A very interesting commentary on something that actually happened in American society around 2001. And they say, well, there was just one ship here, wasn't there? And she pauses and pauses. That was just the start.
I don't know if you caught it. She worked for Interplanetary Expeditions.
And that is that's government operated, isn't it? Or is that the same? Is that the same people that hired?
That looks for technology on dead worlds to advance human technology.
Yes. Was it also the place that the first girlfriend, Sinclair's girlfriend, was contracted for?
I believe they contracted her, yes.
And then we saw them again in the episode where Franklin's mentor, or I think it was his mentor, he came, and that's when we had the whole thing where the guy, it was another parasite thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Texas saying that it was Sheridan's wife was also employed by them.
Yes. Catherine Sakai did do some freelances, Omni pointed out, for IPX.
And so she's saying that they were detained, basically, for days.
Yeah, they were told to leave the site, and they did. There were shuttles that went back and forth, and then this shows up.
And so she's saying at first she thought it was destroying the other ship. But instead, it looks like it was destroying the ground and then burying itself. Or landing. And it was nothing happened for 20 to 25 minutes, and they heard this screeching noise.
Now, this was 7 years prior to the current date.
And then instead of the one ship that landed, all of a sudden there were 2 ships. There was something terrible that was born. And then the mega corporation said if they ever spoke a word about this, it's basically. And Tex is saying that he doesn't think Catherine Sakai was hired by them. She did mineral surveys, not archaeological work. I'll have to look again. I could have sworn it was the same people, but I also get names very wrong throughout this series, so not reliable witness here. Okay, so is she saying that they found one of the spider ships?
They found another one on Ganymede.
Okay, and so she's worrying that they can't be allowed to find it. That the Earth government wants to take
Well, they
it?
want to take it back to, yeah, the Earth government wants to take it back to Earth and use it to enhance their technology, use it against the other races and potentially their own people, if necessary.
But she's saying we can't allow them to do this.
And I'm not sure if you got the full gist of it. They found the ship on Mars,
Mm-hmm.
and then another one came and dug it out,
Oh.
landed on top of it, activated the one it was buried, and then they both left.
And that activation process was that screeching, terrifying noise.
Yes. And now they found another one on Ganymede. This time they want it instead of allowing the shadows come to get it.
Omni's saying that this is Shatner.
Yep, there's our Shatner. Do you recognize the actor?
Would it surprise you if I said no?
No. He's only had 12 different roles in Star Trek.
Huh.
And the most famous
Ooh.
would be Admiral Forrest in Enterprise.
I have only watched that series twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he was Captain Chorus in Heart of Glory in TNG. He was Gul
Okay.
Dunar. He was Dr. Telek Ramor, a Romulan in Voyager's Eye of the Needle. He was Seskel, a Cardassian in DS9, 2 episodes. He was Lansor, or 2 of 9 in Voyager. He was a Vidian captain. He was an Alpha Hirogen. He was Korath, another Klingon in Voyager's Endgame. He was Admiral Forrest. He was a Klingon captain in Sleeping Dogs in Enterprise. And he was a Cretacean captain in 2 episodes of Enterprise.
So I feel a little better for not recognizing him, and that the only time he actually showed his non-maked-up face was on Enterprise, and that is the series I'm the weakest on.
But he was such a prominent character.
He was. Just usually his actual face was covered up.
True.
So an interesting interaction just happened there, by the way. Okay, 2 interesting interactions. One, you had a very endearing moment between Dolores and Sheridan. Yeah, Sheridan. But before that,
Star Killer.
you had a really I think, important moment between how our favorite Night Watch guy,
Zach.
Zach. I was going to say William Defoe. I know it's not, but he looks like him to me. Zach, one of the quote unquote discount William Shatner comes in, and he makes a comment about being in the Night Watch basically makes him feel kind of like a god. And it really shows kind of the difference, where even Zach, he's starting to be pushed more toward the Night Watch people, because he's been ostracized and kept out of this group. And he's smart enough to realize there's something going on with the core members. But at the same time, he is definitely not where the rest of the Night Watch people are. The rest of the Night Watch people enjoy their power. They enjoy the trip it gives them.
Oh, it's interesting. Discount William Shatner said the phrase "eternal vigilance is the price of freedom," which is a variation of a quote from Thomas Jefferson, which the original meaning was that people should closely watch their governments to avoid excessive encroachment on personal liberty.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a Night Watch guy, which is doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So it's kind of ironic.
Meanwhile, while we've been talking about this, Sheridan has basically gone on a leave of absence. He's left Ivanova in charge, and he and Dolores have gone off to the White Star. And he's left his ident card behind. He's dressed in civilian clothes. He's basically AWOL at this moment. And this episode is going to be done before this finishes encoding. I'm sorry, guys. And Kay Roberts is pointing out that it's an old Marxist technique to turn the framing of words. Yeah. Once you redefine a word, it makes discussion about the subject almost impossible. And so here's the discount William Shatner person. He's giving a stirring speech, so to speak, among the Night Watch people. And he's come to the conclusion that Earth has been sold out by their own people. That they've been sold out by the news correspondents, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And that everything we've been seeing lately, all these libelous attacks against the president, are nothing but lies and subversions. They're fake news, everyone. It's fake news. It's all of Russian hoax. And so Zach is incredulous. He's like, no, this is impossible. And I'm so sorry. I wish you could see the actor playing Zach is doing a great job showing his uncomfortableness in this situation. And how he doesn't believe this, and the steps they're taking now, he's so against it. He's like, no, you're talking about wiretapping. Like you're going to suspect everybody? And this is so crazy, because this is exactly what we did after 9/11. The wiretapping.
Pre
yeah.
9/11.
Yeah, by almost a decade. Almost. 6 years. Okay. I'm rounding maybe a little too much.
Yeah. Someone noticed the captain's gone.
And yes, Omni, he's making a point that it's supposed to be an allegory to 1930s Germany. But I mean, just the way they're talking about everyone's guilty. We need to put on wiretapping on our own people, collecting all this data on them. Like, it's crazy, the parallels. History is somewhat cyclical.
It is.
Yeah, Joel,
Right, Joel.
history
History.
repeats.
Yeah, beat me to it.
Uh, Now, K. Roberts is saying that Zach is experiencing the Sloshenheitzen effect. Obviously, I don't know how to pronounce this word. I am not familiar with this one. Illuminate me. Educate me.
Oh yes, the beds, Thomas, the beds.
These beds look TNG-ish.
Not sure about that.
I'm trying to think of the episode. It reminds me of oh well, it was, what was the episode? Was it the one where Picard was abducted? Or no, it definitely wasn't the one where everyone was being pulled into the subspace thing in their dreams and being experimented on. But apparently their beds are like a 45-degree angle. And the Empari believe that sleeping horizontally is imitating death or tempting death.
Yeah, tempting death.
But they only allow back sleepers on Inbar. No one sleeps on their sides clearly.
4 out of 5 chiropractors approve of Mimbari beds, says Omni.
And the Imbaris definitely are very chaste individuals. Like, this is a just wide enough for one person bed. Very TV appropriate. But they do sleep all in one room together, as Thomas points out, yes.
True. This is a good scene.
And Roberts is saying that the dissident writer Alexander, and I'm sorry, I'm so butchering this name, Slotzenheitzen, on his critique of Lenin before the revolution. That's where this comes from, the Slotzenheitzen effect. And Sheridan is relating a story about the night before a test, couldn't get any sleep, and who was it who sprayed the garden hose?
His dad.
His dad. He went outside and sprayed it on the roof, and because the sound of rain helped him fall asleep. And so the dad was simulating the sound of rain falling on the roof. And he says, right now, more than anything else in the world, I wish it was raining. And Dolores says something, and all of a sudden there's a sound of thunder. And a little ambiance noise.
Rain on the roof.
And they're holding hands. I mean, it's sweet, but at the same time, that'd be so uncomfortable in reality. So the beds are arranged like 45 in opposite directions. And so they're holding hands, you know, between the two beds, feet going the opposite directions, heads kind of meeting. No, heads not meeting. Heads going the opposite way too. It would not. Like, it's great for them to be able to look at each other and talk. But you know, you'd hold hands for a few minutes and then be like, okay, my hand's falling asleep. I'm sorry, I gotta let go. And Ivanova, she's saying, "What I would prefer is for you," and he goes, "For me to watch." He goes, "I don't know. I don't know how to relate to you here, where you fit in." And Ivanova, she's searching for reasons to be upset at him, to dislike him. Like she definitely gives me the impression of someone who is aware of some underlying feelings for someone that they don't really want to have and are looking for excuses to deny those feelings. And she's upset about the powerlessness of this situation, and she's upset that they're going against the government. She's upset that he's caused nothing but trouble since he's come here, that he sent the captain off on a suicide mission, and she doesn't know who else to blame.
Here we go. Here we go.
And they just gated in by Jupiter?
Jupiter. That's where Ganymede is.
And they're receiving some audio from Ganymede. And they hear something saying IPX-1 to base, subject is approaching target. And they're saying that the way this ship becomes fully functional is when somebody goes inside and merges with the ship. And they're saying that, and Dolores is saying whoever's going inside has not been properly prepared. The results could be disastrous. And it's moving, they say. Which I'm sure is going to turn out just fine.
Oh, yeah.
And let's see. There we go. 12 minutes left in the episode, and we're about synced back up. Thanks, everyone. That was a little rough. And so a human entered the ship. A human has merged with the ship. But it seems the ship has much more of a personality than the human was expecting. And so Dolores is saying that the ship is out of control. It's insane. We have to destroy that ship. And it's interesting that the ship, we've had one of these Shadow Spider ships on Mars now, and another on Ganymede.
Yeah.
So there's something. It's interesting that we have two of these spider ships in the Earth solar system. And so they're opening fire. Damage to the ship is negligible. And we see this is something they brought up in a previous episode with the Narn. When a couple of ships focused firepower on one spot, they were able to slightly damage it. And so Sheridan has all the weapon array on the front of the ship concentrate fire in one spot. So it does a beam instead of these little pew pew pews. And they're able to break off one of its little spider legs. And so this is an episode plot point that Voyager kind of stole at one point, with the Delta Flyer going down to retrieve a message relay station in a gas planet. And it's a race with a V, the Vorlons? Were they called the Vorlons too? They're the ones who are the waste people. They always had all the poisonous gases they were pumping out. The Malon.
Malon, yeah.
But their hope is that by going into Jupiter's atmosphere, because the Shadow Spider ship isn't fully operational, that it won't be able to escape Jupiter's gravity well. But of course, they're running the same risk themselves, that their ship also might be crushed and might not be able to escape Jupiter's gravity well.
Just awesome visuals.
Hey, Trek reviewer.
Hi, Trek reviewer.
But sure enough, 2 for 2, Sheridan's ideas for defeating a ship that vastly outclasses them pans out. So Sheridan is proving that he is quite the flexible and tactical thinker.
Indeed.
So they thought that they were in the clear, and all of a sudden there's shots across their port bow, and it's the Agamemnon.
His old ship.
His old ship. I do remember the ship, Josh. We've seen it twice, from what I recall. Well, okay, we've seen it once, and I feel like it got referenced a second time. Yeah, and he didn't use nukes.
Indeed.
And so they have an issue where the Agamemnon is not equipped for atmospheric maneuvering, but they can just wait them out. They can hunt them down like a bloodhound. And Dolores is pointing out that at this point, their only choices are to fight or surrender. That if they stay here, they're going to be flushed out and destroyed. That they cannot go fast enough to outpace the Agamemnon in orbit since they're in the atmosphere. But the captain is unwilling to open fire on his old ship. And so they're talking about going to warp within a ship's planetary gravity well, basically. The same conundrum, the same impossibility, the same dangers. And they're going to open a jump gate in atmosphere. And Lanier points out that the amount of energy it would require to open a jump gate in a hydrogen atmosphere would be explosive. But they're going to risk it. And it works?
It works. We got a very happy Minbari on the right.
And so it looks like they at least got away.
Thomas says, "No, Matthew, it didn't work."
Well, my point being, we haven't seen necessarily the side effects on the Agamemnon's side of things. I'm presuming they didn't blow up Jupiter or any part of it. But I wouldn't be entirely surprised if they had done a cutaway and found out that while they got through the gate successfully, that it had caused an explosion to occur. And unfortunately, even though they were initially successful, the fact that they were caught at all is being used to double down on the scaremongering that the news stations are doing, and the Earth government is using this as an excuse to increase their security against their own people. Yeah, K. Roberts, I could see them like causing a gassy pocket to explode or something. And so Frank Shatner here is confronting Zach, maybe? There's supposed to be a meeting, but he called him here a half hour early. And so he's saying, well, okay, no, he's not worried about Zach. He's worried about the captain. He's saying, we think that there may be infiltrators in the Earth force, but, we think it's weird that the captain was gone for 4 days. And I told the Ministry of Peace, and they agree with me. We want to figure out what's going on with the captain. And Zach's upset. He said, you shouldn't have done that without talking to me first. And that's the line, apparently. At least he says. Let's see what happens here. He's pointing out that ever since he joined up with the Night Watch people, the captain hasn't been trusting him.
Garibaldi hasn't trusted him.
He's saying, I know they don't trust me because if they did, I'd know what's going on right now. So the discount Shatner guy, he wants Zach to use his position to dig up dirt. And Zach's saying, no, I won't do that. And he tries to say, just go and be honest with him. Tell him to confide in you, that you know something's up and you just want to know what. And that's when he makes the comment like, they don't trust me since I joined up with you. And so the guy leaves and he looks at his own armband like he's conflicted. It's gone from just an easy way to make money to almost like a shackle on him now. And he's done a collage?
Yes.
And he's trying to think of a way to describe the structure of Babylon 5 using the Ottoman Empire as a model.
She told him that she didn't know where he fit in. So he's showing her.
And she said, why did you do this? And he said, well, did it make you laugh? And he goes, yeah, well, then that's why. And Sheridan says, quick, turn on ISN. And we're finding out that the Earth government just declared martial law.
Oh, dear. Dun, dun, dun.
So my prediction was not correct, admittedly. Let's see, messages from Earth. I mean, I guess you kind of had the messages going with the discount Shatner guy talking back and forth. You kind of had two messages from ISN. I don't know. I'm not seeing too many messages from Earth. Illuminate my mind here, Jeff. What's going on?
Well, so I think you did get one thing right in your prediction, Matthew. You did mention martial law and what happened right at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
President Clark declared martial law. So you did get one thing right. I will give you that. So messages from Earth. Well, I think Earth is sending a message, don't you? Hey.
Okay.
We're tightening the screws down. We're going to take control.
Okay, that sort of message is from Earth. I'll grant you that.
I think that's where this is coming from.
That certainly makes the most sense because I was not seeing it. I'm like, what sort of messages are we getting? But no, they are sending a clear message. Yes, I accept.
Yeah, Night Watch is coming. Anyone involved in the conspiracy against Earth is going to be taken down.
Well, what were your thoughts about the episode?
Oh, this is fantastic. Great episode. Great Star Trek actor here, Vaughn Armstrong, as Security Guard 1. I don't know why they didn't give him a name, but that was what they called him, Security Guard number 1.
And what's weird is they flashed his name for just a second or two. Because I remember when I was setting the stream up last night, I was typing in his name to the metadata for the stream, and I had to rewind it. Rewind. Wow, that's such an old term. I had to track back on the video because it was on and gone. Like just bam, done. So not only did they not give him a name, they didn't give him much time to even show the actor's name.
I don't know. I guess I'd have to go back and look at the credits. I don't think they purposely kept his name on screen for a shorter amount of time than other guest actors. Hey, John, welcome.
Hey.
But no, this was a great episode. I think it's the best episode we have so far of this season. I wouldn't say it's the best episode of the series to this point, but it's right up there. A lot of action, and the story is really cranking now. At least from the Earth side of things, we have the president trying to take control of everything, get rid of sedition, just bring in that totalitarian government style where everything is under his power.
Yeah.
So it's really starting to crank. Martial law has been declared. What's going to happen next? It sounds like they're going to come after the command crew. Mm-hmm. They know things are going on, and they're getting kind of a confirmation from Zach. And where is Zach going to lean in all this? Looks like he's having some trouble with it, but will he stick with Night Watch, or will something else happen? We don't know. We got Shadow Ship in 2 different locations in the solar system. They're buried there. And what did Omni do, Thomas?
Thomas saying the episode after the next one is best of all, and Omni message got deleted. Says we can skip it, Thomas.
Okay, whatever. The visuals in this episode were just fantastic. They keep getting more confident and showing how they can stretch those Amigas back then and into doing some just great CGI for the time. And I like you said, I think it still holds up fairly well today. This is just a very good story. You got Marcus, his character is still developing that relationship with Ivanova. I think they got some good things going with that relationship. We got a little progression with the relationship between Sheridan and Dolores.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll point out, we get a reference all the way back in the episode Infection, which we actually mentioned during the stream tonight before, of Garibaldi recounting his view of events on Mars from 7 years ago. He was talking to the reporter that was there to talk to Sinclair, and he said something along the lines of a long struggle out of the desert, which was in reference to this scene that we see in this episode. So we get
Huh.
something all the way back from episode 4 of season 1.
That's very cool. Huh.
And one of the things when they form the jump point
Mm-hmm.
in the atmosphere, and they fly off, the FX company that does the CGI for Babylon 5, they put one frame in there of another series that they were doing. And somebody recorded the episode on VHS and they saw that frame. That's incredible on VHS, but they saw that frame, and JMS wrote about it in the Usenets back then, and he said about the alien city that was seen. The executive producer thinks he's mistaken. Has to be. It must be a series of patterns in the image that looks like a city. Being a thorough person, however, the executive producer, and of course he's the executive producer, fires
Mm-hmm.
up his copy of the tape and fast forwards the shot in question, pauses, then advances, frame by frame, then stops. The executive producer stares at the screen for a very, very long time. Eventually, words form. The executive producer knows that if he posts those words here, not only will they throw him off the system, they will come to his house, burn it down, and sow the ground with salt. The executive producer knows what that single frame is, knows that it has nothing to do with his show, knows that it's a frame from Hypernauts that somehow crossed into the EFX shot in double exposure via computer glitch while rendering. No one saw it. No one noticed it till now. Tomorrow morning, the executive producer is going to make phone calls and say all the words he can't say here. When he is finished, 27 miles of telephone coaxial cable are going to hang melted from the telephone poles. Shortly thereafter, the executive producer is going to put a gun to his head and blow his brains out in the sure knowledge that if he does not do so, he will most assuredly do it to someone else. The executive producer thanks you for bringing this to his attention and would write further, but is currently modeming from a laptop computer on top of his roof from which he is considering jumping, and the wind up here is causing line noise.
Okay, so I got the picture in question.
Oh, you found it?
I did. So let me. We may lose audio. I'm going to switch this over.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Thomas asks, WTF is Hypernauts. It was another show that the effects company that did Babylon 5 was doing the effects for.
So I was curious.
I don't know what that series is, but
I wasn't certain if the remaster version had removed this, because it's one frame. But
no, because what they did is they took the original film and they basically enhanced it, or they I can't think of the word I want to use, but they took
Mm-hmm.
the exact film. They didn't change it at all.
They just upscaled it and called it a day.
Well, they did for the effect shots. They upscaled that, but they rescanned it. Thank you, Omni. They rescanned the original film. They didn't change it.
So here is, hopefully you can still hear me after this, but here's the shot. So let's see. Yeah, you'll be able to hear me. You won't be able to hear Jeff. So Jeff, that's okay. So that was it. That was a shot from Hypernaut. So that's funny. It does look kind of like Cloud City, yeah. Yeah, I definitely didn't see it during the episode, but it's one of those things where it's fun that they put it there.
Yeah, and they thought nobody would notice it. Someone taped it and was going through it frame by frame and found it.
Unbelievable.
And that was, back in the 90s when they found it.
Because literally, I use VLC. Let me go over here. So I use VLC, and they have a button that you can push and just go frame by frame. And sure enough, there was. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, I didn't know about it either until I read JMS's notes.
If you don't watch the show frame by frame, don't call yourself a fan.
But yeah, this episode was just fabulous. It was very well done. Does not seem like a 40-minute, 42-minute episode. It felt like more like half that. It just flew.
It did. Here's my problem. I use VLC. I will die with VLC.
Oh, I love VLC.
Do you use Media Player Classic Gorilla? Is that your vibe? Thomas is saying, didn't the company that animated TAS use stuff from other shows they did? Maybe? It was Filmation. Yeah, John is saying that Filmation did that a lot.
Yeah, they did that a lot. The other part of this episode, and if you don't think about it, I mean, you kind of forget it. It happened at the beginning of the episode with Chikar. We see Chikar in jail, basically, and who goes to talk to him?
Garibaldi.
Garibaldi. Well, at the start of this series, those two really didn't have a relationship, but he goes to talk to him. Who did Garibaldi talk to at the beginning of the series?
Londo.
Well, there seems to be a shift there. I think that's interesting. And Chikar is trusting Garibaldi with the Book of Jaquan and telling him to read it. And Garibaldi is doing that. So they are building a relationship there, I think.
Yeah, don't thump the Book of Jaquan.
Exactly. So the question becomes, why are these shadow ships all over the place? Where are they in different places that we haven't seen yet?
I mentioned it while we were watching it, but it's very interesting to me that we had two of these shadow ships in the Earth system. And it seems like they've been buried there for a very long time, which I can understand one ship being placed in a system where you have an Earth in the Goldilocks zone. Or a planet in the Goldilocks zone. Well, 1,000 years ago, even from an evolutionist standpoint, you would have had humanity. So, okay, they saw there was a potential of advanced civilization life, potentially buried a ship. We don't know how old it is. It could be extremely ancient for all I know. I'm assuming that at some point during, 1,000 years ago when they had the last war, that they hid ships as they were losing. I could see them saying, hey, we got to hide away our ships. We're going to put this in strategic locations, potentially strategic locations, so that as we spin things back up, we can reactivate them quickly. But two.
And this seems to have taken place, at least the Mars one, before the start of the series. I mean, this was 7 years prior to this episode. And we're only in season 3, or the third year of the series. I guess fourth year if you count the pilot. I guess it was a year between the pilot and the first episode proper. But so that took place 3 years before Babylon 5 went online.
Mm-hmm.
Open for business, as Omni says.
So, Thomas is saying maybe there's a ship in Fort Worth. I'll look for it.
Possibly, yeah. Start digging for it, Matthew. So all this was starting to happen even before Babylon 5 went online.
Yeah. I mean, I assume the ship has then been there for a long time and only discovered recently.
Yeah, that's the implication.
And it's interesting in that it was activated recently in Mars 7 years ago from current season 3 date. It's interesting because you have to wonder if they have forgotten where their own ships are. And
Okay.
now that they've been uncovered, they went and picked it up, or if this was a reactionary move, like they knew where it was the whole time, they weren't ready for it to be activated, but since someone else had found it, they had to step in. I
Or
almost lean toward the former.
or were they already working together?
Ooh, maybe it could be.
It, there was a Psy-Corps badge found there. Garibaldi found it. He was there and
True.
saw part of these events. Now, why didn't he mention anything before? That's a good question.
I mean, I'd cut him a little slack in that so many different things happen until that you have that last puzzle piece that really brings it into focus. You don't make the connection between, like, okay, in hindsight, yeah, hey, there's a ship that a Shadow Spider ship, and I found a Psy-Corps thing there. Oh, now I'm seeing the connection. Otherwise, it's like, hey, this weird thing happened, and I know there's a secret Psy-Corps base on Mars, and out in the desert something happened, and then I found this Psy-Corps badge there.
Now, there were comics put out during the run of B5 that were supposed to be canon, but you didn't have to read them in order to figure out things in the series proper. But Garibaldi's experience on Mars is in one of these comics, and Sinclair was actually there as well.
Interesting.
Now, Sinclair didn't see what Garibaldi saw. He wasn't with Garibaldi at the time, but he was on Mars at the time with Garibaldi.
If I can find some of these, I might give them a read. But I gotta be careful to make sure that I only read them at the appropriate times. Like, In Darkness Find Me was the first one, released December 1994 by DC Comics.
Trevor Lawrence says he has that comic.
Oh. So I'll have to see if I can't find a copy of that.
Kay Roberts is right. There were a series of books as well that are considered canon. And the books cover mainly after the series.
Let's see. It's saying that the first story takes place between Chrysalis and Points of Departure. That's season 1 finale? Yeah, season 1 finale, season 2 intro.
Omni's asking if the comics are considered canon. According to JMS, yes, they are canon.
So I will definitely try and find some of that. And I'll make sure that even though they occur between certain episodes, I'm going to make sure that I only read them not based on what episode they take place in, but when it was actually released, because I feel like a comic can provide a lot of different context that I shouldn't know about until the point of its release. So I'll stick to the rules, the self-imposed rules.
I think these things are really rare. Even the books are pretty rare. You maybe you'll find them like on eBay.
I'm hoping I might be able to find perhaps some digital copies of them too.
Oh, okay. Didn't think about that. Yeah, Omni mentioned digital.
So we'll see. But that's future Matt's problem. Present Matt, I like this episode. No surprise. I think my favorite aspect of this episode is Zach, and obviously everything that happened in the episode is the only reason Zach's in his current position. So just hats off to JMS for writing this story so well that this random thing happening to Zach only is happening because of everything else going on in the story so far. So because we see Sheridan skips out, and that's another. Okay, hold on. I gotta focus chronologically here in the episode. You have the initial video being used as a reason to start talking about draconian measures from the Earth government, and then we find out about this lady shows up, and she's been on this excavation crew, and they found one of these, a second spider ship. So she was involved in the first spider shipping on Earth, and then she finds out about the second one, and she's worried about the Earth government using it, and she saw how destructive it was, and she knows that if they get control of it, to be able to use it on alien races or their own people would be devastating. And she doesn't care, even if this is sedition and it's going to cost her her life, she has to stand up for what she knows is right. Because of this lady, Sheridan goes off with Delenn to hopefully Dolores. Goes off with Delenn to hopefully stop them from activating it. They get there too late. They finally manage to destroy it, which is an interesting point, that it requires a sacrifice to activate, basically. That it is implied that the Psi-Corps sent someone on the Mars one, and he was properly trained from what we can tell. But even then, there was that crazy sound in her head as it was activated.
I don't think...
Or just crazy sound out loud.
I don't think on Mars did a human go into the ship, into the shadow ship. He had the second one come in and land basically on top of it. So I think a shadow or took control of the buried ship.
Yeah, so I guess I'm reading too much between the lines. The fact that Dolores was really concerned about the human entering it would not have been properly trained
on Ganymede.
On Ganymede, yes. I took that as an implication that there was a human properly or a creature properly trained. I assumed it was one of the thrall races. Maybe people can only use tarot cards. Yeah, the psychics. Yes. I'm sticking with that one. But so I'm curious if what we see happening is that, just like Morden, that the shadow spiders are getting human thralls, people, collaborators, to work with them, and then we're using them to activate their derelict ships, is kind of my working theory. And we saw in today's episode that the human who tried to do this was not properly equipped. They were not associated with the shadow people necessarily, that this was the president doing his own, Clark doing his own thing and trying to usurp the spider people. So I thought that was an interesting possibility. And then
to me, that's exactly what happened.
Because of that, and they think they've won, but because of that, the Sheridan's old ship, the Agamemnon. I'm not saying that right, but anyway, the Aggie. It shows up.
I have trouble with it too.
And they are able to use that event to double down on the unknown alien threat and declare martial law. It's fantastic. As they were trying to prevent the worst possible outcome, they ended up ushering in the worst possible outcome.
They couldn't win.
Yeah. Omni's saying, couldn't IPX just have found the ships? They found both of them.
Yeah, they did. They did stop the shadow ship, but then they got blamed for an attack on Ganymede.
Now, the without spider influence is the interesting point, Omni. You have to wonder how much at this point is IPX aware of the shadow spiders. Because we're definitely getting some hints that they are either collaborating with them or have some sort of inside knowledge about them. Like, I mean, the mere fact that they have found two ships of theirs proves that they are aware of it. And they definitely seem to be kind of like the Megacorp in Aliens, where they're aware of the alien creatures, and they are intentionally sacrificing ship after ship after ship, trying to procure one of these aliens to see what they can do from a military type standpoint. And so it seems like maybe IPX is trying to do that too, where this is just one more alien ancient technology that they're hoping to weaponize for humanity, or, well, for their own pocketbooks.
Omni has a good question.
Yeah.
He asks, the spiders can just get their own ships. Why need the humans?
What does a god need with a spaceship? Excellent question. And Gorillas is saying, I just admitted that dictators and martial law are awesome. When did I do that? But no, see, that's the thing. Sure. That's why I was kind of wondering if they do require like a human thrall, so to speak. Are they using them as cannon fodder to somehow activate abandoned ships? Like, you know, maybe it's something like they can't reproduce anymore. There's a limited number of them. And so they literally don't have the people to merge with their own ships. They need someone to merge with them. And it'd be fascinating if the reason why there are so many psychics, telepaths, why there are so many telepaths in the universe is precisely because of this intergalactic war that we have. Well, galactic war that we have between the shadow and the light creatures. Interstellar war between the shadow and light creatures. Maybe they are deliberately guiding races toward telepathy so that they can use them to like merge with their ships and become warriors for them. Like maybe a regular person just can't do it. You have to be a telepath. And if that's the case, then that's even more interesting that the Narn are not telepaths, and that something happened on the Narn homeworld all those years ago with the shadow spiders. And the thing with Jaquan. So you almost wonder if somehow the Narn saw the danger happening and said, we don't want any part of either side of this. And somehow were able to kill that telepathy gene in their race so that they would be ineffective to both races. Or maybe that's why the shadow spiders left. Maybe they came to the planet trying to create that telepath gene. They couldn't do it in the Narn for whatever reason, and so they just left them and said, well, we can't do anything here. Yeah, Omni, the Narn have no psychics. I was just wondering about that. So anyway, we are almost halfway through Babylon 5. There are so many questions that they're raising. I'm really loving the fact that I'm going through this blind like this so that we can talk about it and just let the creative juices flow here. Thinking about all these different, like, it must have been so fun to be on Usenet at this time and be on the forums at this time. Well, 94, 95, beyond the bulletin board systems of the time. and just talking about, hey, what do you think this mean? What do you think this mean? Because the telepaths, the fact that the telepath, I'm pretty sure it was a telepath, was just the one used to merge with the ship. I don't know. I think this is interesting. I think it's especially interesting that the ships have been left here. Why two in the Earth's system? Where else might they be buried and hidden? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as time goes on.
I can't wait.
Yeah. But next week is going to be an episode called The Point of No Return. Okay, I can see two things. Let me talk this out, and then I'm going to commit to one of them.
Okay.
So, two things off the top of my head. First one, as a continuation of this episode, I guess one of the things I didn't talk about, but I really loved, was Zach and how everything going on has pushed him to this point where he really does not like what the Night Watch is doing. But he's not leaving it either. He's sticking with it. And it's been interesting to see his progression where, it's just 50 extra bucks a week. And each time something has come up and given him that opportunity to leave, he's like, it's not really that big of a deal, and I could use the extra money. And then it escalates to the next point where he's like, well, I didn't turn anyone in. I just confirmed what they already knew. They were going to do this anyway, so it doesn't matter if I said anything or not. To the next point. And so now he's at this point where he feels abandoned by Garibaldi, and he feels trapped by the Night Force. And like I said during it, where he looked at his armband at the end, and he was kind of holding it but unwilling to take it off. I think that's really interesting symbolism of just like how this has become a shackle to him, that he's imprisoned by it. And it's an interesting imprisonment because he has the power to take it off and quit. And yet he's not. Night Watch, not to be confused with Night Force or Night Court. Night Watch.
I like Night Court.
Yeah, it's such a fun. Oh, Brett Spiner on Night Court, such a fun thing. So you had that at the end of this episode. I could see Point of No Return continuing that exact plot thread where he is faced with that point of no return. Is he going to go with Night Watch? And if he goes with Night Watch at this point, that's it. He has burned his bridges. He has chosen. He's made his bed. He's going to have to lie down in it. So I could see that being kind of the thing going on in the episode where he's having to make that choice. And I think based on the way they're writing his character right now, he would choose to stick with Night Watch. And the real crux of the episode would be that he, feeling so rejected by Garibaldi, he knows that he's lost all trust with them. He feels trapped in this position and decides to just go full bore with them. Conversely, the Point of No Return, I feel like we've kind of already had it with them, but I could see the Point of No Return focusing back in on Londo's character. That we saw him in his memories just a couple of 2 episodes back. I think it was Dust to Dust, maybe. I think it was Dust to Dust. That's the it was Dust to Dust, where we saw how he made that flippant comment to that was flippant for the record, not flippin', flippant comment to Morden about, well, why don't you just destroy the entire Narn homeworld? And even though he meant it very, off the cuff, not really meaning anything by it, Morden ran with it, and we saw what that led to. And even though Londo has been complicit in it, much like Zach's journey, he's also been one of these characters where he's doing it, but he's not thrilled about it. And so they're holding out, especially with Fear being back, they're holding out this opportunity for Londo to have redemption.
Remember, Veer went back to Mimbar.
He did. That's true.
He did. Yeah, he did.
So I could still see something coming up for Londo in the upcoming episode where it's going to be framed like, oh, you thought the fact that he was aboard the ships as they bombarded Narn was bad? No. He didn't really like that. We've seen that time and time again. He's been trying to break things off with the Shadow Spiders. He's been trying to be like, hey, what do you mean you are slandering one of my fellow swordsmen in his house? You're going to destroy him. Knock it off. I'm not going to support this. And I think it's... Ooh. Okay, I just thought of this right now, this moment. I think what we're going to have is that he's going to have a point of no return with the... with his own people, with the Centauri people, that he's been pushing up and or pushing back with them. I think he's going to have a point of no return choice where either he falls in line with the Centauri government or he is going to have to lose all the status and all the wealth that he's gained from, midpoint season 2 till now. So those are my two thoughts. A Londo centric where he has to choose if he's going to fall in line or if he's going to choose to basically start having a redemption moment. Like, he's got to come down low before he gets redemption, but it's going to be the start of it potentially. Or if this is going to be a point of no return for Zach's character.
I like the sound of both.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think here. We've talked about the upcoming Sick Transit Veer, which we found out something about so goes the man, or thus goes the man, I think is what someone translated the Latin from last week. Which is
I think so.
A wonderful play on words. So I could see Jeff should get a reward for being able to type incoherent words from Matthew. Absolutely. It's a pun.
Enough credit, Thomas.
He's saying what? It's a pun. It's both his name, thus passes man. So it's both his name, Veer. It's his it's Latin for thus passes a man, which kind of carries some implication with it, but it's also a reference to thus to all emperors, or thus to all tyrants. So it works on multiple levels. But I could see us working toward that point. Okay, final answer. I've talked it through. I believe that next week we are going to see Zach is coming to a point of no return decision, that he is either going to have to fall in line with the Night Watch, or he is going to have to throw his lot in with people that he believes don't trust him anymore. And based on what we have seen so far in the series, I think that what we're going to see is that while he's on the fence and trying to decide what to do, Garibaldi, his actions are going to push Zach into the arms of the Night Watch. That Garibaldi, it's going to be a miscommunication, perhaps. It's just going to be one of those momentary things. Zach is going to be left feeling that he has no trust whatsoever with the people, that they actually distrust him, that he has no point staying with them. Something's going to be miscommunicated. He's actually going to think that they are practicing sedition, which, I mean, they kind of are. When you stop to think about it, they are being seditious. They're on the right side of history. We know that as, third person omniscient viewers, basically. But he won't know that. All he's going to see is that they are plotting against the president, and he's going to go to Night Watch, and that's going to be the point of no return for not only Zach, but it's going to be the point of no return for our Babylon 5 crew as well, as they pit themselves against this Earth government. So that is going to be my prediction for next. That's going to be the point of no return.
I can't wait to see that episode happen.
Me too. And we'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for dealing with my. I will, as soon as we turn this off, I will make the next video so this does not happen again. Sorry about that. But we'll make sure that the clips are ready for y'all next week. And I look forward to seeing you at the Hour of Scampering next week, where we watch Season 3, Episode 9, The Point of No Return.
Can't wait for it. We'll see you next week. Have a good week, everyone.
See ya. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that. I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.